In today's economy, more people than ever are looking to buy and sell businesses. But how do you do it? Welcome to the Deal Board, presented by Transworld Business Advisors. Straight talk about real deals and real people. Listen to stories, interviews, and expert advice to help your business sale, merger, or acquisition process. Now, here are your business exit experts, Andy and JT.
Welcome to the Transworld Business Advisors Deal Board Podcast. I'm JT Jim Tatem, and this is Andy Cagnetta.
We are back and better than ever.
Always better than ever.
Better than ever. And we're talking about the economy and the business brokerage statistics from last year and this year.
What sold, and then we're going to get into what is selling so far this year.
Yes, but it is better than ever. I mean, things are better than ever.
And they continue to just go up from here.
Yeah, I think we're going to continue to see that.
Yes. Well, the trend is very, very positive, Andy.
It is.
And congratulations to Transworld as a network.
Yes.
For $1 billion in transactions in 2024.
Sounds like a scene from...
you have to do this when you say $1 billion. Yes. In transactions in 2024 across the entire network. That is a major milestone for our brand.
It's a huge milestone. I mean, just think about the companies that sell $1 billion worth of things.
Right.
They are name brands across the world.
That's right.
And for us to be able to, tell people, I think we're the best kept secret out there. But that's part of why we have this podcast.
Well, and I think industry-wide, people still say, I didn't know there was such a thing as business brokers. You've been doing this for how many years now?
30.
30 years, and Transworld's been selling businesses since 1979. Yes. That's 46 years, and people still say today, I didn't know there was somebody that sold businesses.
Yeah, and we weren't the first business brokerage either.
Right.
So.
No, but we will be the last.
Yes.
We'll be the last man standing if all goes according to plan. So.
Well, it's going well. And, what we're seeing out there in the world, it is getting busier, continues. I mean, the baby boomer trend is taking hold, but I don't think it's there yet.
No. I would agree with you. There's always been this conversation, not only here on Deal Board with you and Jessica, et cetera, over the last several years, but just across all of the industry. If you talk to people in International Business Brokers Association, M&A Source, et cetera, if you see a lot of the people who are online talking about how people can buy a business, that constant theme is the silver tsunami. All of these people are what's the number? The dollar amount of
$12 trillion is going to transfer. 4 million businesses need to trade hands over the next 10 years. $400,000 a year if you simply divide.
Right.
And then, there's 30-something thousand on Biz Buy Sell right now.
Right.
So that means the business is about the 10x.
That's crazy.
Which would be crazy.
Which would be great. But we're positioned to be able to help all those people make that transition.
We have 1,000 or more brokers, advisors now, 250 offices. You're doing a great job of planting flags across the world.
That's correct. Yeah. More and more international countries coming onto the Transworld brand. So
it's good.
That will help us to be able to help people all over the world.
Yeah.
Because those baby boomers are not only in America.
No, there was a baby boom everywhere.
That's right.
There was.
That's right.
It's not an American thing.
Well, I thought we should start with some of those stats from 2024.
Yeah.
Just on the brand side first. Maybe at the high level, and then we could talk about the stats that we put together each year based on the transactions that took place.
Yeah.
And those would be good and educational for you if you're thinking about selling a business, or even if you're a buyer looking at buying a business, to know what are the multiples on SDE, what are the percentages, how long do the businesses stay on the market for, how many days does it take to sell a business. That's all really good factual data for
this data is going to really help business owners sell. And we're going to do an episode of what are the deal killers out there in the world. But one of the deal killers is just people don't understand the marketplace.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about that in the next episode. But, we have some data here that just kind of lays it out for you.
Right. Well, go to that first one. Again, really proud from the network perspective to be able to have helped put over $1 billion into the pockets of those business owners who transitioned out of running a business, whether it was for 2 years or 20 years.
you're thinking about that. That's $1 billion of assets that might have been lost.
Yeah.
The economy might have lost all those jobs. And you're talking, I'm looking at the enterprise value, the sold gross sales of those same businesses.
Almost $2 billion.
Almost $2 billion. That's $2 billion of tradable money that could have disappeared.
Right. And you know, to go back to that, not everybody knows their business brokers exist.
Sure.
There are plenty of people out there that they get to the end of the run, 20 years, 30 years into it. Their kids don't want the business and they start thinking, I guess I'm just going to close it. And that is what we did. We prevented that from happening in a great number of businesses where, no, don't close that. Don't walk away from it. You have a very sellable asset that other people would be glad to be able to take a hold of and scale, and then continue on your legacy, continue on the business enterprise that you built.
I'm thinking we should get like some sort of congressional medal for that because we've saved so many tax dollars.
Right.
And we've preserved.
And been able to continue to help people who were affected in those businesses.
Yeah,
the staff,
sure.
The vendors. Okay, that's payroll that continued on, families that continued to make money and were able to be supported because those businesses.
Yeah, and it's all them. I'm just kidding. But, you know, it really is these amazing entrepreneurs out there that have built something. And we tell that message all the time.
Yeah.
You've built something, get your money out of it. And look, the average size deal, just about $1 million.
Yeah. That's which is interesting. You know, we think about that. There's so many people out there that are in that larger space. People hear M&A. They know that term. Investment bankers, et cetera, doing these really, really large deals, 50 million, 100 million or greater. The Main Street business market, which is where we primarily are focused, right? We're doing a lot of $1 million deals. That means we got some that are slower than that. If we look at what our average is, we have some that are above that. But that's really the backbone of the American economy is small business. Yeah. And most small businesses never get to $1 million in revenue. And we're doing transactions that are averaging just under $1 million.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's great. And you know, it's funny. You talk about the percentages of businesses out there that are over $1 million. And you just think about how many we did do.
Right.
That large businesses, we're selling hundreds of large businesses, large deals that are well worth more than $1 million.
Yeah, that's right.
Multi-millions of dollars. And we have a huge portion of them as well. One of the other interesting stats I see here that just I'm extrapolating a little bit, but 5% of the businesses own the real estate.
Ah, okay. That's true.
Yeah.
And that's increasing, I think, over time.
Well, you think about those baby boomers who own those businesses.
Right.
Over the years, eventually did buy their real estate. And, you know, every time we sell, probably out of all those deals, probably like 90-something% of them were baby boomers.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. They owned it for a long time.
And, you know, they probably didn't start out owning that building.
Right. No.
They leased it first.
Yeah.
Then they bought the building or they leased it for a period of time and that lease was up and then they moved to a new location. So they bought the building. And that, even though it is a significant percentage, it's probably still a lot of them didn't sell the building.
Right.
So they sold the business and we helped with that transaction, but they continued to be the landlord and they're getting the mailbox money because they have an asset in their real estate.
Mailbox money. And the other, you know, interesting thing here is co-brokerage. And we talk about co-brokerage a lot and we talk about opening the marketplace and we talk about having a free-flowing marketplace. We believe in that. We believe in capitalism. You're talking almost 20%. You know, like a little less, maybe 15 to 20% of the deals out there that were co-broked. And that could have been in-house or out or
within network or outside of network. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but that's right. That's pretty incredible that, you know, we have a very dynamic marketplace at Transworld. I mean, very fluid marketplace.
Right. And a very open posture to the co-broke.
Right.
Because there are a lot of people in the space, in the industry, that they just will not do that.
No, it's silly.
And it's hard to fathom that, especially from the perspective of being an intermediary, an agent, a broker, and you're serving your seller who hired you to sell their business. And then you're saying, well, I'm not going to sell it to those buyers. it seems to me there's a fiduciary responsibility that you're really not taking advantage of. And the seller, when they hire you, they don't care where the buyer comes from.
No, they want the best buyer at the
That's
best
right.
price. So do the employees. The employees who are sticking around want the best person that's able to pay for the business, finance the business, run the business, gets along with the seller so they have a good transition.
Right.
I mean, that's what everybody's looking for.
That's what they want. Carry on that legacy.
Yep.
And so our job as the intermediary is to really find the best buyer. And that may or may not be a buyer that we bring to the table.
Right.
And so we want everyone that we work with to know, yes, we are 100% pro co-broking. And I think there's probably opportunity, Andy, within the industry to continue to beat that drum. I know in Florida and the Business Brokerage Association in Florida, you guys have that kind of as a mandatory way they do business. But there's so many business brokerage associations across the country that don't yet. And there are many that are working towards that end. It's kind of just changing the mindset a little bit. And part of that has to come from education so that all the brokers are on the same level playing field. Then there's a confidence level. I feel good if I pass this to Andy and co-broke with him because I know he knows what he's doing.
And if you're a seller out there, you should be asking,
do you co-broke?
Do you co-broke?
Yes, that's a critical question.
But these stats, what's amazing about these stats is, and we've been keeping these stats for, in this CRM system, we've been here for about 7 years and have really, really solid kind of statistical analysis that we can do to really guide sellers, to really guide our brokers to what to expect in the marketplace. And so we have some of those things that we can educate our sellers and our buyers.
That's right. And one of the last ones I wanted to hit on the 2024 for us was just, we're keep trending towards the 2,000 transactions a year.
Yeah.
That's where we're headed. If we look at what we did the year before, last year, we're continuing on to that track.
We might blow through that this year, but we'll see.
Let's keep, that's what we're working towards.
Yeah.
And, one of the transitions that we could make based on what you just said is to that average multiple, because that's always one that people think about when they're selling the business. Well, how much can I sell it for?
Right.
And it's interesting that when you look at that 2024 stats, where we were 2.7 to 3.1 was kind of the spread there. But now we have our own stats from the deals that were actually completed. And let's start there maybe with the average of the listing price by the SDE multiple.
Yeah. I mean, we've always say that the quality and quantity of earnings will drive multiples. So the quantity is simple. How much money do you make? If you make $100,000, that's a business that is somewhat more risky than a business that makes $1 million, right? So if you make $1 million and you buy a business and you make a $250,000 mistake, you just made less money.
Right.
If you buy a business that makes $100,000 and you make a $250,000 mistake,
you got to go find another business.
Yeah, you're out of business.
That's right.
So that's why private equity and all these big investment companies buy businesses that have more earnings, so they can either build them or they can make mistakes. And what we see is multiples go up as those earnings go up. Okay. So a business that is in the M&A space, which we talk about all the time, say $2 million and up, is going to get almost 5 times, 6 times a multiple on their earnings.
Which is crazy. And these earnings here, we're talking about basically the SDE in the Main Street space, which is EBITDA plus the owner's comp, and maybe some add backs, but that's pretty consistent for us, across the board.
But it's so wild, and I know you can't see it. We'll try to throw it on a screen shot during the podcast. But as you go up, and we've broken this down by quadrant, 125 and less, 125 to 250,
in earnings,
250
that's right,
to 500, 500 to 750, and we go up each time. It's almost a perfect, graduation of going up of, it's 2 times for $125,000 and below. It's 2.5 times for 125. It's 3 times. I mean, it literally almost goes up a half a turn every time you're going up another $250,000, and then a full turn for almost every time you're going up millions of dollars.
By $1 million. You go from 4 to 4.8 to 5.1 to 6.
Right.
Every single.
So again, the message out there is if you have a business that's making $100,000, listing it for $5 million is not going to work.
Right. You have a choice.
Right.
You could choose to do it now, or we got a great partner over at Exit Factor that we can refer you to, and they can help you.
Sure.
Hey, if you've got some time, a year, 2 years, where you can invest in strategic planning and execution, you can generate enough new revenue and profit to be able to command a higher price.
But one of the most powerful things is when we start talking about those businesses and how they're priced, and we have two telling us the average percentage of close price versus listing price. Okay. And then the final, one that I think is even more about the difference between sold and expired listings.
Yeah.
And, based on the data, there's about a 15% difference between expired and sold. So what does that tell everybody?
Yeah. So what we're saying there is if you price it right, it's going to sell. If you don't price it right, it's going to not sell, and eventually your listing is going to expire. And there's only a very small delta between those two. So it's really important that you get the pricing correct and the valuation correct. Okay. And there's a number of different ways to do that. With the bigger companies, they can do a certified valuation. On the Main Street stuff, we do a lot of broker opinion of value based on the data of comparables that have sold and multiples in the industry for your EBITDA or for your SDE or a percentage of your revenue. There's a science and art there. It's both.
But I think it's becoming more of a science because what's happening out there in the world is people have access to information.
Right.
More than ever.
Yeah.
Think of all the AI tools that are coming out. They're going to know what businesses should sell for. So the buyers are not stupid. The other thing that I think is happening as well, you think about more SBA financing. SBA is not going to let someone overpay. They're doing a valuation.
Right.
And then lastly, businesses that they're not going to sell, they're not going to be overpriced because people don't like to negotiate anymore.
It is funny, isn't it?
I mean, think about all the car dealerships. Do you negotiate at a car dealership anymore?
I try.
Oh, you do.
I don't actually like even doing the deal if you're not going to negotiate with me. I'm like, I'm not going to go see that guy. I want to go over here.
You're different. We're old
The
school.
generation today doesn't want that. They don't like the haggle. They don't like the confrontation. It's uncomfortable. They don't like doing it. So you're seeing that more and more, even with the buyers coming in.
Right.
They're like, well, I don't want to offer that. I don't want to insult them. And I go, no, insult away, please. Just put the offer on the table and see what he says.
But they don't want to do that.
They don't want to do that.
And actually, I got some feedback from a major player in one industry that we were trying to show them a local business for sale. And they said, we don't even want to talk to the owner. And I'm like, why? They're like, their price shows us they're unreasonable.
Wow.
They didn't want to go there.
Not even having a conversation.
Not even having a conversation. So this is really is valuable information, and we can provide it to the people who want to sell their businesses and show them, and sometimes it takes a little time for people to absorb this and to accept it.
Right.
But
so let's go back just real quick, real recap. So the first one we had was that percentage or the multiple on the SDE. And we said historically, you guys have been saying this for a year, two times, which is probably true for everything less than 250 to 500K.
Sure.
And then after that, it goes up incrementally as you described
three
earlier.
times, 4 times.
Yes. Okay. And upwards of 6 times when you get into that M&A space of 10 million. Then we had the average of the close price percentage of the listing price. So here's what you listed it at. What are they selling for? And that's typically somewhere in the 10 to 15% range, as you said earlier, right? That's the second one. The third one was that this one we haven't touched on yet. How long does it take?
It takes a while.
It takes a while. Okay. So when you're ready to sell, it's not, let me just call the broker and then I can take my foot off the gas because this is going to sell in 30 days. Probably not. Historically, what are we seeing? How many months?
7 months at a minimum.
And that's on businesses that are small businesses making less deals than $125,000 a year.
And look at that $10 million plus number. I mean,
16 months,
13 months. It should be taking less time. It seems like things have slowed down a little bit. Maybe it's because of the interest rates over the last couple of years. Maybe the banks are being more careful in their credit boxes. But the bigger deals are taking some time. So
And we've always said kind of 8 to 12, 8 to 12, right. 8 to 12. And if I go to the 125, it's 7.2 months. If I go to 2 to 5 million, it's 11.56. It's 8 to 12.
Yeah. So if you're looking at your broker, folks who are thinking about to sell their business and saying, please do this in 6 months, you're probably asking, if you're ready to give it away,
right,
you probably could get it done.
Yeah.
But you're most likely you're not.
Right. And don't go to the broker and say, I want to test the waters, because the broker has to go through all of the same preparation, marketing, screening, buyer screenings to be able to get the deal done. And you're only giving them half the time to be able to do it. And that's the same seller that's going to say to them, and I don't want to pay that much on the commission. So you want me to do it in less time for less money? I'm probably not your guy. Right. Yeah.
So we're getting close to the end here, but we can't stop without talking about 2025. How are we doing so far? I mean, it's a good time for us to look back and reset and decide, hey, what's going on in the year. And
we're trending up still, as we said at the very, very beginning. We did more last year than we did the previous year, and we're trending to do the same more this year than we did in 2024. So, I mean, we're well over where we should be for the plus 1 billion in transactions this year. We're up on the $100,000 plus commissions. Yeah, that's an increase of almost 25% so far year over year. And the listings, we're trending right back up towards that. Yeah, let's get to 5,000 businesses.
It's interesting. Even now, I've been doing this for 30 years. The inventory of listings used to be much higher, but I think the reason why it's not is because we're getting better at selling businesses and the marketplace is getting more efficient. So businesses, while they're still hanging around for 7 to 12 months, we're able to connect them to buyers. Right. And they don't stay for sale forever.
Well, we're using that database, 630,000 buyers in our database. We can connect people quickly. Yes. And take advantage of that. And there's much more emphasis now, I think, on valuing a property before you bring it to market. Right. There's a lot more tools available to make sure that we can go and find those buyers. And then a lot more training on the part of the brokers to say, when I show that business to you as Mr. Buyer and it's a good business, don't wait to put your offer in. Yeah. You better do that because someone else is right behind you and you're going to miss out if you don't.
It's still a seller's market. Yeah. But even though it's a seller's market, as we said before, buyers are smart. The banks are smart. They're not going to overpay. The good news is for sellers, they can get good money for their businesses. The bad news is there's no a sucker born every minute.
No. So the trend has been great from 2024. Yep. We're still trending forward in 2025. And we're looking for really positive outcomes exceeding what we set out to do when we started the year.
Yeah, it's going to be a great second half to the year. I know it's going to be bigger than the first half for sure.
Yep. So if you're looking to sell, this is the time to think about doing it. And if you're looking to buy and you find the right one, get your offer in because it's not going to sit there long.
Yeah. And coming up, we have a great listing of the week.
And a deal of the week.
So let's get to it.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Andy, do you know what time it is?
What time?
It's time for Deal of the Week.
Ring the bell.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. It is Deal of the Week, and I am with Wayne Blease from Transworld Business Advisors of South and West Texas. They do a lot of deals down there. And Wayne, this was a nice business that you just sold.
Yes, it was. It was a events business that was built over 18 years. Right. They had multiple streams of income. They had a restaurant, catering. They had 2 event centers, a chapel. They built out the whole western town, and also had the B&Bs as part of the business.
Wow!
So it was a really great opportunity for someone to kind of take over a business that was built over the years with strong revenues, lots of deposits on hold.
And did they own the real estate as well?
They owned the real estate, so they added real estate to the process as they grew, and so it was over 4 acres of property where they built the whole small town on.
And we sold both?
We sold everything together as one package for over $3 million.
For over $3 million. And, just a note out there to the folks, people think, oh, well, I own the real estate. Maybe Transworld can't handle that. No, we handle tons of businesses that have and own their own real estate.
There was multiple pieces of real estate put together, multiple buildings, all packaged together.
So there was a lot of moving parts in this deal.
Lots of moving parts.
Lots of different business kind of revenue streams.
Lots of revenue streams, which made the business really, really profitable and really, a great business.
So was it hard to find the buyer?
It took us a while. The seller was very particular about preserving her legacy.
Right.
I wanted to make sure that they had the right buyer. So we worked closely, and I told her up front, if that's the way you want to go, we'll work with you to find you the right buyer, make sure it's a good fit for you, but give us enough time so that we can get to that place. So it took us right about 2 years to get the right buyer.
Excellent. Great job, Wayne. That's a great story. Tell everybody how the best way to get in touch with you.
So you can reach me at wblease@tworld.com. My number is 713-201-2346.
Great job selling that deal.
Thank you.
Hey, JT, do you know what time it is?
Money time?
Almost. It's time for Listing of the Week. Hey, welcome back. It is Listing of the Week, and I am very fortunate to have Rupesh Bharad here in the flesh, in the studio, talking about listings and deals and everything that we're going to talk about today. But we have a listing for you. Rupesh, tell us about the listing you have today.
Sure. Thank you, Andy. And it is always a pleasure to see very high energy in our Transworld office, very energetic Florida environment. Andy, this is amazing listing. We have been talking about baby boomers. This listing is in business for the last 75 years.
75 years. That's the nice thing about Virginia, folks. That's where they landed first. Their businesses are old. So tell me about a 75-year-old business.
Yes, and this is very high-end blind as well as window covering, window treatment business. Amazing sale. We are and their bottom line is about $750,000.
Wow.
We have listed for a little 3 times technically, and this is what we have listed the business for $2.4 million.
Okay.
The best part is the purchaser can also purchase the real estate for additional $1.6 million, and then they can roll both the transaction in the loan, and SBA as well as financing will be very favorable based on the real estate involved. So they can...
Yeah, they could do a 7A and a 504, and they could get longer than 10 years. They could get a blended note. So it could be, I don't know how many years, depending on what the valuations of both those things are, but it could be a very good deal for someone.
Absolutely, Andy. And you brought a great point. Sometimes what we have seen, and people say we have listed the business for sale, and we tell that it is not just the business of sale. It is the creativity of the broker. How you project the business, how you structure the business, what is the loan, what is the debt service. And there are so many factors affecting an analysis goes behind it to get a win-win situation for buyer and seller.
All right. Well, obviously, a business that's been around that long, that did the blinds for both Thomas Jefferson and George Washington. Just kidding. But it's been around for a long time. Rupesh and his team handle businesses in Virginia, in West Virginia, in Maryland, and Delaware. Where's this one located?
This is located in Central Virginia.
Central Virginia. And so what's the best way to get in touch with you if somebody wants to learn more about this incredible opportunity?
Yes, Andy. And they can reach out to me directly on my cell phone number, 804-835-6363. And we have about 35 partners located in 4 states, and depends on the business. We can definitely assign certain experienced business broker M&A advisor with me.
Excellent. Give Rupesh and his team a call. Sounds like a great deal for someone to buy real soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the show today. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends on social media. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcasting app. If you have questions, would like to appear, or have suggestions for topics for the show, get in contact with us through our website, thedealboardpodcast.com.